Hello and welcome, Exiles. Talking about the point 0.5 Return of the Ancients patch, there's one thing that has me real excited, and that's becoming the ultimate beastmaster with the new Spirit Walker Ascendancy. I like to make builds based on what's something the new that they're going to add to the game, and this by far seemed the most interesting to me. Martial artists had some things going on, but I gotta be honest, this whole fantasy of taming a huge unique boss, like for example, they showcased, hey, you could tame the monkey, or they showcase that you could tame the Chimeral, or you could tame the giant bird that kills everybody with a tornado, except it's a frozen version. The point is, this Ascendancy point seems the coolest to me to become the ultimate Beastmaster, basically a companion build. And I think the stars are aligning, so to speak, for this to maybe work. And I'm going to try to go over a few points of ways this is maybe going to work out. Number one is they're just buffing companion damage. Companion damage is currently right now pitiful, and Mark on the Q&A said they're going to triple it right here.
Honestly, I think it might have even been. We've tripled the damage, I think, of tamed beasts.
Tripled the damage of Tame Beast. So they're obviously trying to support the playstyle of, hey, you want to make a build just around companions? We're going to start making it so that your damage is actually somewhat decent. Another thing to note for this is they are adding items that say, hey, you can have any number of Tame Beasts barring the soft cap of your reservation space. And built into this scepter is also a special wolf companion itself. So they're adding support for not only the tame beast base damage, they're adding items that will let you get multiple, like a bunch of them. Because currently in the game, the way it is, you can only get one extra tame beast from this right in here, Trusted Kinship. And it comes with a pretty big downside of capsizing your defense with the less defense mod. So, for example, if you go that scepter that lets you get any number of different companions, all of a sudden you don't need to lose your defense, and you can have more than just two. There's other things that are in the Ascendancy that support this as well. For example, the Spirit Walker Ascendancy has the Katha's Blessing, which allows you to give a bunch of base damage from whatever weapon you are holding to the companion. And one of the ways I thought that could make sense to do this is companions, they're all spirit percentage reservation based. So, like if you look here, I just have some examples here. This companion says it requires 42% of my spirit to reserve. Or I look over here, the Dire Tusk Boar. This thing has 39%. They all have a percentage based reservation. It's not flat spirit, which means potentially if we wanted to. Now, this would be obviously a large amount of pathing, but let's be honest here. Let's all be straight up. The tree right now, any mid-game to late-game build is just pathing to jewel sockets. Let's not sugarcoat it. So this would be potentially in the cards, which is going to Lord of the Wilds. This cuts our spirit in half, but that doesn't matter if it's based on a percentage reservation. It would not change our reservation space. It would in terms if you wanted to tag in a little extra aura here or there, but for the most part, if you're just trying to stack a bunch of companions, you're doing a bunch of percentage-based reservations anyways, which would allow you to put on a talisman. And a talisman can have a bunch of flat fizz. They hit almost as hard as two-hand maces. Not quite as hard, but still, you can get in the 700 to 1200. You can get some pretty high fizz damage if you're talking top end of these things, which gives them a large amount of base damage to work with the new Ascendancy. So that's one of the thought processes. You could also maybe go Giant's Blood as well, which I think would allow you to have a two-hand mace plus a scepter. Could potentially be an option. You'd obviously be going like strength stacking with the Heroic Tragedy, ES Jewel, something like that would be the route. But the point is, they're opening up an option to give you a bunch of base damage to your companions. So my thought process is we'll get the big bear, we'll tag in the unique tame beast, which we'll probably try out a bunch of different unique mobs, trying to figure out what does the strongest amount of damage or clear. And then the final option, which I think is just a solid option, is the idolatry node, which gives you reservation efficiency and percent damage scaling. Just a solid node if we're trying to min-max and having multiple companions. That's kind of the rough thought process. Just some examples of why this has some other things that are kind of neat about it that I kind of like. Is for one, companions can have up to 4 monster modifiers. Now, these are all like the Act 3 companions that I'm going to show you here. These are all level 9s. These are not high-level monsters. So these are just 2 mod rares. But you'll notice they have some pretty useful things on them. For example, Energy Shield Aura makes everybody near them gain 20% of their life as ES. Or, for example, you have Haste Aura, obviously one of the go-tos, gives 20% attack and cast speed and 10% movement speed. You have a bunch of these like extra passive benefits that you can tag onto them where they all help each other out and they help out you, the character. For example, this Haste Aura is just going to make your character feel a lot just more fluid in terms of that you get 10% MS and you get some cast and attack speed if you're trying to like debuff or whatever you're trying to do, use a movement skill. There's a lot of things like this that'll give you defensive powers and additional benefits that are nice. Things like temporal bubble on a rare can make the boss or enemy you're fighting much slower, easier to dodge. You get the idea. There's a lot of benefits. So if you're stacking up multiple of these guys, that can layer on pretty strong. There's also a list of monster mods here of different things that are just like focusing on making them deal more damage. Like, for example, you can give them gain damage mods just to increase their DPS output. You can make them put down shocking ground, make them put down cold exposure, stuff like that. There's a array of benefits where if you stack up multiple of them and you get a bunch of different modifiers, you kind of get some neat stuff going on. Caveat to this is it's really annoying to try to get an ideal set of mods on a companion. The reason I have these gems is at one point I was trying to make a character who had a companion with haste aura and another like somewhat useful stat for a build I was playing, and I had to reset a zone over and over and over again for multiple hours just to get the two mods I wanted. So although, yes, theoretically, there's a lot of nice combinations that can occur, certain combination of rare mods are going to be very painful to get. So there is that caution there. But that's some of the things that can work together, some of the synergy there of we can have a bunch of mods that they give to me and each other, as well as B, they have multipliers on their damage. I don't really know how this is going to turn out, to be quite honest with you. We don't have patch notes. We're missing a lot of info. Companions right now is not really something you can really make a build out of. Technically, people have done it with like Infernal Legion just based on their life values, but not in terms of them dealing like hit based damage, at least from what I could find. I try to find some videos of people playing companions as the main damage source, and there just weren't really outside of Infernal Legion. So this is a untested grounds. We'll put it that way, given the fact that this whole taming a unique boss is a new thing. Maybe there's going to be some really strong ones. Maybe they're going to be undertuned. Who really knows? I'm hoping will show up and they're just going to be strong, but who really knows? Ultimately, we got another 3 weeks until this launch, another 2 weeks until patch notes. This is just my rough thing I was excited about the most when looking at the reveal. So, yeah, that's just kind of where I'm at. We'll see when come patch notes. Maybe I'll change my mind about what I want to play, but I'm thinking about League starting a Beastmaster, Spirit Walker, Companion build main is kind of what I'm leaning towards, and that's what I'll probably be making a guide for, barring something changes. Ultimately, we're just waiting for patch notes, and until we get that, it's like, who freaking knows what really is going to happen. Anyways, this is the one video I'm going to make for PoE 2 until probably we get more information on patch notes, at which point I will probably be doing some updates for guides, like, for example, the Meteor Bear we made last patch. We'll try to update the guide, stuff like that, but that's just what the plan is going forward. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video on kind of a like condensed little theory craft on what we're thinking about potentially starting. And yeah, as always, thanks for watching, Exiles. Take care and peace out. Have a good one.